as you can clearly hear, the dogs are barking. I really hate dogs, especially that whole song with "Ooh, let the dogs out." Yeah, that song. I hate them. So, can you shut up? Anyway, so I wanted to make this video because, well, I updated my Wattpad story of the FNAF timeline. Again. And, added some additional things. Well, I wanted to say this in the last video, but I ran out of time. So, with people in FNAF being fans, theorists, and other people, try to figure out the timeline or, say, even if they know about the past games, like how we know very little about some characters, that some of the things that are said are just speculation, but at the same time, nothing's confirmed. Scott hasn't confirmed everything about the timeline. Especially since Matt Pet's timeline, I don't want to go into it. It's especially the newer ones. I just know. No. Just no. But from some of the things from other people's timelines, which would make sense, but sometimes it doesn't, I decided to, do a more simpler, make sense timeline sort of thing. So, combining everything from the timeline, the fact that William Afton is the purple guy, Michael, Elizabeth, and the crying child are William's children. He became a mad scientist person during Sister Location. The Nightmare animatronics and the FNAF or bedroom were just experiments, and the Didophobia story! Sorry. Okay. So, I said shut up! I am so sorry about that. They're still barking. I wish my dad can just get rid of dogs. Okay? The neighborhood that I live in with my dad is infested with them. I wish that mystery dog story from Hooked was real. Because I don't care anymore if dogs get cut open and a hose is put into them and their intestines just go everywhere. I don't care. And even though dogs are pets, they act like wild beasts. Okay. I am very sorry for yelling and probably almost gonna think about doing terrible things to my dogs. The dogs that are literal abominations to me. Minus Benji. But only one. Mine. I freaking hate mine. So, since everything was in speculation about some of the characters, the story, and other things, and especially one FNAF YouTuber, not real name, I don't know if I'm just losing my mind, because all I know is that it doesn't matter, because none of these things are going to be confirmed anyways. We're just going to go with it. Alright? It's fine. And it's still speculation, but I'm going to go with it. And besides, people have made official timelines, or because Scott's timeline is a mess, and that... Okay, you know what? Since Scott's timeline is a mess, and since he's not gonna confirm anything what people have said, we're just gonna make up whatever we want. Not really, but we're just gonna put everything in speculation and what's actually in the story to make sense of what happens in the timeline. But for me, it's obviously that people want Five Nights at Freddy's to be simple again, the story, the timeline. And thankfully, I'm not alone. But with everything mostly in speculation and what's mostly specified, I try to make sense of some of the things and make it simple instead of complicated like others have. And if you're wondering about the dark timeline, FNAF 1 to 4, the Hidden Lore did it better. The Hidden Lore is basically FNAF creepypasta. Originally made by Mr. Creepypasta. The Hidden Lore in FNAF 1 talks about the Bite of 87. FNAF 2, Part 1, The Good Old Days, talks about the puppet's origin, and new renovations involve The Bite of 87 in FNAF 2, obviously, maybe. FNAF 3 involves the origin of Springtrap, to be obvious. And FNAF 4, obviously, the Bite of 83, the origin of everything that happened in the series, blah blah blah. And the Hidden Lore, since William Afton wasn't a thing during that time, during 2014 to 2015, the Hidden Lore FNAF story gave Purple Guy a name. Peter Wiltiger, apparently. The Crying Child, Chris, which is now just a fan name, and that I use for Evan's middle name. And Michael Afton instead being Terrence, which is also his middle name. So, yeah. And just in case you haven't seen the FNAF Hidden Lore series, go ahead and watch it. It's great. It's one of my favorites. And one of my favorite stories from the Hidden Lore series involves there's something missing, where it involves 3 teenagers, or preteens, that are 13 years old: Allison, Michael, and Chuck. They were born in 1980, but due to the fact that their story takes place in probably FNAF 1, if the actual timeline was involved with the Hidden Lore aspects, it would mostly say that their story takes place before what happens. It takes place during the summer, 1993, where Michael talks about how he'll blackmail Allison to not, that he'll tell her dad about that one website he caught her in. And since websites were a thing, the internet was mostly a thing for computers during the early 1990s, so 1993 during the summer. And, yeah. Oh, and, I also want to say that, so in the book and on the Wiki fandom about Susie, one of the missing children, her parents are Hayden and Patricia. That's nice. Real nice. And I decided to make, thank God the Pizzeria Roleplay Remastered Roblox game gave the bullies names. We already know Michael. But thank God that game gave us names. And for the last names, they're just at random, but the most remarkable last name for the Freddy bully, Jason, is Wilson. And I also gave them middle names. Simon being Williams. Simon William Thompson. We have Kurt Daniels. Gabriel's older brother. Yeah, I decided to make that a thing. Just because it's on the characters' full names, birthdays, and fun facts thing at the beginning of my Wild Pet story. Just in case if you need to know the characters, characters' names and birthdays and whatever is about them before actually going into the timeline. Just in case. Yeah, this video might be weird, but I'm just gonna go with this. So, I decided to put in things that might be a headcanon for me, because we don't know everything that happens in other characters' lives, so, after Evan's death and when Annabelle tells William that she wants to get a divorce, on October 12th, Heather, Simon's older sister, which is one of the names in the Pizzeria Roleplay Remastered by Roblox. Heather is the Chica Mask bully, but since, well, I can obviously see from the FNAF 4 minigames that they're all men, boys. So Heather, Simon's older sister, because why not, breaks up with Michael in front of the entire school. Well, I don't know if that would actually happen. I decided to put it in anyways. I thought it might be funny, but sad. October 13th. Simon distances himself from Michael after yesterday. Yeah. October 14th. Michael becomes depressed. His school grades decrease, and he locks himself in his room where he cries, ashamed about what he did to Evan. October 15th. Michael gets into a fight with Jason. Both of them are suspended from school for 2 weeks. And October 16th. As Michael visits Evan's grave, he is bitten by a werewolf, unknowingly. Yeah, I have this headcanon where Mike Schmidt or Michael Apton is a werewolf, just to put it bluntly. And when Gabriel Daniels died, Kurt also distances himself from Michael, so Michael no longer had his main friends anymore. Kinda sad.